Okay, guys, we'll go ahead and get started. We'll look for AI and Sigma on automate threat hunting using OpenAI. So keep in mind, my name's Stacilauskas. I'm consulted on a lot of things, but I am not an AI expert. So we're going to automate this hunting. What is hunting? Let's define it. It's a process of which you can detect malicious activity that your traditional tools or methods can't detect. How do I like going about doing it? I use the scientific research method, which is just a standardized way of making battery data formatting. That's not what's going on. But why do we need a process? Why can't we just go out and look for things? Otherwise, you're just a person doing stuff. Want to document your threat hunting process. That way you can improve on it. If it's not written down, you can't look back on it and say, hey, can I improve on this? You may not be able to reproduce your results, or I wouldn't be able to, right? If I look back what I did a month ago on what I did a month ago without looking at documentation. And it also shows value to your management, right? So you want to say, hey guys, this is what I'm doing. This is not a guy. So scientific research method. Again, then we'll run through this real quick. What is it? We start with observation or formation of a topic. What don't we know? What are we trying to figure out? What's our gaps? From there, we derive a hypothesis, right? Testable prediction. Conceptual definition is how does my hypothesis and topic relate to other? Well, for example, know that attacker A attacks your industry, and then you use technique B. Therefore, you're gonna relate that back. This is why we're looking for attack B, right? Operational definition. This is specifically gather the data, identify the population, right? Is it going to be Windows hosts? It's just going to be our domain controllers. What specific data we're going to gather? Analyzing the data, how we're going to analyze, how we're going to process that data. Interpret it, how we're going to present the data, charts, tables, text. And we're going to test our hypothesis, right? Were we correct? And then we're going to come up with a conclusion and reiterate if necessary. So how do we formulate a topic? That's the hardest part, right? How do we come up with what we're trying to look for? You want to use, so here are the steps: collect data, open source, social media, and human intelligence technical sources. So analysis, right? We'll talk about identifying patterns. We're going to talk about these things, IOCs, and where Sigma comes into play with that, and where hunting comes into play with those. And when we get into further down here. Threat identification, what is it? Is it malware? Is it APT, 0 days stuff? We're going to provide context to it. Who's the threat, potential impact, likelihood. Dissemination, right? This is important. What you're going to disseminate to your SOC and your SIM engineer and your incident responders are going to be different from management, which is going to be different than you're going to disseminate to stakeholders if you are. So recommendations. What are we going to do? What should we do? What can we do? And who should be doing it? And integration. So this is where we're going to get into the integrating into our threat hunting process. So we have CTI. They provide us and send it. So we're going to come up with these things called IOCs. Like how are we going to integrate this into our SIM, into our threat hunting process? You have 3 types of IOCs. Typically, when they say IOCs, people think of doing or what we call atomic IOCs. They're specific pieces of the data. There's nothing you can do with it. They're just data, right? You can't process these anymore. You have computed IOCs, which are computational or algorithmically based. Regex is a perfect example. And then you're going to have behavioral. And this is going to be how it behaves. Right? Another great visualization, data beyond. Right? So who should be consuming these IOCs? Right at the bottom, the lower tier. So the lower tier, your domains, IPs, and hashes, these should be your SIM engineers. Like they should be getting these in STIGs, TAXI, or Sigma format, right? And these are the atomic IOCs. There's no reason for an incident responder or a threat hunter to plug hashes and just wasting time. The compute and behavior are going to be the upper ones. Those are what you want your incident responders. Then, so Sigma will handle hashes, will handle the bottom 3, but they really allow you to get into these top 3, the TTPs tools and network knowledge-based artifacts. Integration again with Sigma rule, CTI threat. Have your tip or rule repo, and then if your SIM. So what is Sigma? Okay, so Sigma is an open source format, YAML. It allows you to convert your detection rules into a querying language, Splunk, KQL, whatever it may be. Sigma, I saved a bunch of rules up there. Question is, why won't I just write my query for my SIM? Because you may have multiple clients. You may have multiple SIMs, depending on how big your organization is. And you may have log collectors that aren't even citizens you know about, right? And then internet-based conversion. So what's in this Sigma rule, right? You have a title line, author, a date, status, what log sort you want to be able to pull up, and scan, detect. And then detection is where where the meat and potatoes are. This is the logic behind the rule. And then you have what fields you want to put out there, and then false positive. This is a basic example of a rule. So Sigma CLI. How do you install this? It installs in Python. If they're installed on Windows, but no, it does, right? You can also use Git incorporated. And I'm rushing through this so we can get to the good stuff, guys. Sigma CLI. You go live, Corinne, if you can't hear you back there. We do not have a mic now, do we? I don't know if they work either. Hello. 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 I didn't. So Sigma CLI tool. So Sigma C, the convert is the one we're going to talk about. We're writing rules we want to convert it. But you have your target, your targets, which is going to be your query language, whatever it may be. You have a pipeline, which is going to be the log source of what you're going to collect. You can do it without a pipeline. You see that switch down there. Well, that's if you want it more general. You're sitting, your Splunk will get mad at you if they're Splunk queries, but you may not know. You may go into a situation not know what type of logs they have, so you don't know what type of pipeline they have. And then is going to output it. Some other tools within the Sigma CLI analyze. So this is actually kind of cool. So let's say it developed into an incident response, and all they have is a bunch of log files. You can run Sigma CLI against a repo or a rule set. Sigma HQ publishes a bunch of rules, so you can have it look across those logs for you. Any badness. Shaq will check the best practice. Rule convert we just talked about above. List will actually list your targeted pipelines. This thing is a framework. It's modular. You can add, there's targets pipelines gets added to this. Can we automate threat hunting, right? So we have some Unix admins said write or type of command more than once or write a script. Modern twist is if you need to do a task more than once, have AI do it for you. NLP versus AI. Part of this, AI takes structured, unstructured data, does something with it. NLP focuses on human language, right? We're going to be focusing on NLP. Don't need to be a coder to do what I'm doing. You can use this with any AI models. Self. So is using AI cheating? Let's ask AI. Right? Morality of cheating with AI ultimately depends whether AI aligns with the rules, expectations, intentions, outcome, the task at hand, blah, 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 blah. Really, it depends, guys. It depends on. You all hear the story of a forensic analyst that gets put out of the stand and they get it pushed on what their discovery was, and they're like, how'd you come up with that? Like, I use Copilot, right? And then they just don't really understand what the AI is doing for them. Am I going to lose my job to AI? Answer's no. You're going to lose your job to someone using AI. So my wife is a drone show down at Disney Springs, and every time they would leave, she'd wait by and thank them. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she said, they're going to come for you first, right? So embrace AI, guys. We didn't embrace a lot of us didn't embrace the cloud when it first came out. We thought that it was just it's an entirely different thing than what our on-prem solutions are. So embrace it, guys. So we're going to use OpenAI Playground. So OpenAI Playground is a web-based tool. It allows you to play with OpenAI AI models, NPL models. You have different tweet temperature, top mean. We'll talk about those are. The other thing is you provide a system instruction. So it only knows what you want it to know, guys. So it's cool, right? So you give it system instructions, you give it, what you want it to know. You don't have to be a coder. You don't have to do anything, anything really to come up with it. You just tell it what it needs to know. So how do we train these models? Jason Haddock did a great keynote on this in 2023 here. So you give it, you write it a persona, right? You give it subjective and purpose, domain analysis, capabilities, task flow, knowledge retrieval, error handling, how it should handle errors, compliance, privacy, concerns about that. process, anything like that. Testing iterations, and then how can it improve itself, and how can it evaluate itself? Right, you're going to train it as you would a junior analyst, but it right, it does what it tells. It does what you tell it to do. So another thing you can do in Playground as well is something called you can model. You can use something called temperature. This is how creative and variant you want your output to be. Sigma rules don't need to be written in the format of Shakespeare. You want it to be lower the temperature, the more consistent the output. We also have this top P, which is nucleus sampling. So this is, if you set it to 0.9, 90% of the words in the output will occur all the time. If you set it to 1, 100% of the words will occur in the output all the time. That makes sense. How creative you want this thing to be, right? So we'll take a look at my model work. We're doing good. We're doing good on time. So here's my model, right? So I say, what's your objective or purpose, right? You're a Sigma rule expert, right? You know about MITRE. You want to write IOCs, right? Give it a persona, right? You're a technical expert. Domain of knowledge. I provided stuff, guys. Is then I don't have to keep providing domain knowledge. I can go reference these links. So, for example, as new techniques come out in Attack Framework or MITRE or whatever, it can come out here and look at this stuff. All right. I started writing, and I wanted to try to integrate this into GQL and Avada and Security Onion, which is a great product. And you can provide it stuff. One of the things I want to get to is task and workflow. One of the things it was doing was it was giving me it was telling me this is what a Sigma rule. No, just give me the rule, guys. And this is what should be in the rule at minimum, right? If you have any questions, go take a look. Capabilities, limitations, error handling. We'll talk about this error handling field and how this, when we get to the threat hunting process, the iteration capabilities. It was formatted in the date raw, all sorts of stuff, right? So you can just run it from here. You can run it from the command line. And so I told it to write me a Sigma rule to detect ransomware. And we'll see how this goes. The internet, but there we go. So it starts writing, see what it comes up with. It's writing the description right now. I'm tethered to my phone right now, so it's taking a little while. We'll let that go and we'll come back to it. So this is how we train these models. So can we automate this? The answer is yes. Playground has an API, right? We're going to use CTI feeds. Remember, CTI was for our threat hunting process start. Project 0, right? Google, Unit 42, I wrote a little script to do this for me. So let's go back to here. It's still working on it. We'll see if the script runs it. This little Python script. Go ahead and run it. It's going to run through, ask me if I want to update my API keys. What's my password for my API? Failed to enter my right password for the API keys. No way, no way. All right, how many days do we want to go back? Well, default 7. Now it's going to go out and start cloning and doing all sorts of stuff, and it's going to write my rules. This thing is, again, still working. So we'll go ahead and kill this. We can go ahead and kill this, and we'll take a look at some of the rules that I've written. So you want to say? Cool. So this is one of the rules that went out. This is from I think Unit 42. Looks like it is. Yep. You look at the X references. It will tell you what log source it wants. And I said domains that piece hashes only. It's automating all this for me. Should tell me who the author is as well. It does. It tells me who the authors are, right? The credit. Now we've automated a Sigma. I don't have to go out and look. I can still go look at their blog post, but it would write these detection rules for me. This guy's still chugging. So we're where are we? Back to our process, our threat hunting process. I think we can automate this. So what have we automated so far? What did I show you today? And this is what we've automated. Formation of topic, the hypothesis, conceptual definition, that will be part of the Sigma rule as well. The operational definition. What rules are we, or what logs are we, or what are we gathering? In that case, at Unit 42.1, we're going to look at proxy logs. Gathering the data, we're kind of there. So we're kind of there. We just haven't gathered it yet. So what's next? If we're going to implement this 100% in production, and I haven't had any clients that's taking me up on this offer yet. But so what's next? These three things: the analysis, interpretation, and test. If you have a sim, this is pretty easy to do. Once you have a Sigma rule, generate your querying language, put it in as an alert. So this next thing, this conclusion reiteration, if necessary, is this Al or AI? When I say Al, I mean an analyst, right? Is this going to be an analyst, or is this? We just have AI. Trust it. I always say always Al, and the iteration should include the AI model. When we looked at the system instructions, we should provide it feedback right in here. This thing's still chugging along. We should provide it in here. This is where we should provide in the system instructions. This is what you got wrong. Improve type of thing. And that's it. 15 minutes, guys.